Hey traders, not one but two failed attempts on the Audcad. Yep, there's no holy grail in trading. Losses do occur. How do we handle it? We stay focused. Also, we think of Chadwick Boseman and his words of encouragement. Guys, let's go through the disclaimer and let's get to looking at these beautiful trades, and let's hear the words of encouragement from Chadwick Boseman. Here we are, guys, and you can see that I have already started putting lipstick on the trade. And the reason for that is because, well, we certainly understand the strategy. We know the strategy works. We've seen it working time and time again. Here we are on the 15-minute chart. Here we are, have a break of that trend line there. Down, down, down. Trend line break, up, up. Okay. Trend line break, down, down, down. Down, down. Trend line break, up, up. Trend line break. What are we expecting, guys? Down, down, down. Can you see it didn't break the 200 MA there? You know, as I've said in the past, I'm in around here. Has a lesson been learned? We don't know, but we have to look at losing trades to understand why we're lost. Sometimes we lose because perhaps we put our take profit too far. Sometimes we lose because our expectation didn't fall through. Anything can happen in the market. Price went up again. Now, just have a look at this. Here's a good level, right? Price has given us a good reaction off that level down. It's broken the trend line. It failed once. Is it going to fail again? Well, I'm in here expecting that we're going to get a continuation here. And what does it do? It breaks up above that level, and now we are here at this level. This is still, for me, an exceptionally beautiful trade. What do? Do I panic now? Fail twice? No. What we do is we look at the bigger picture. Now, we're looking at the bigger picture. We can see that price has been going up forever. Okay. Look at two things here. Trend line break on the daily chart. Typically, when you break across the 200 moving average, it comes back to do a retest. Where can we see that? We see this trend line break of the 200. We come back here, we do a retest. This break here of the 200, we come back here, do a retest. So I look at these things as and for evidence. What has happened in the past is likely to happen in the future. So I'm thinking, okay, so what's likely going on here? One other thing I look at is this is a big trend that's been going up, up, up forever. But typically a trend will pull back to the 618 for a continuation upwards. Well, it's not even close. So I don't think this is over. I think that was a fake out to make out. And also one other thing I'd like to look at here with you guys is look at the levels here. Notice when tested, a bounce. When tested, a bounce. Broke through, came back, did a retest, and look, a bounce. Retest, bounce. So here we are retesting this, which appears to be quite a strong level. We got an initial reaction of it. I suspect we're going to get a bigger reaction of it down to the 618, which is a big trade. We're looking at 500 pips. So I'm not panicked about these small losses because I think in the bigger scheme of things, of course, there's going to be bigger gains. So another thing we do is, just a second, we can also look at the news, the up and coming news. So if I can find that screen real quick, hold on. Let's there we go. So if we go over to Forex Factory, and what we're going to do, we're going to look at over there, Forex Factory. We're going to look at the news that's coming forward. So we're looking here August. So we're August 30th now, which is the this is the week of August 30th, but what we're going to do is look at this last week, see what happened. We know that we had some Canada news. That was on Thursday. Jackson Hole was on Thursday. Jackson Hole continued on Friday. It was an all-day event. And the Aussie CAD just turned around suddenly. So it's quite interesting to see. We look at crude oil inventories. They're good, positive. All right, that's good news for the CAD. So we look at the news, but more importantly, what we're going to look at is the news next week. We got non-farm payroll, right? But here's what I want to show you here. We've got news on the Aussie dollar. Okay, so the Aussie CAD is where we've taken a couple losses. We've got news cash rate, the rate statement. Further down, we've got the GDP, and they're expecting negative 6%. Pretty substantial, I would say. And if you look at the report there, you can see they've never had a negative 6% forecast. And that's pretty outlandish given, right, all forecasts that's happened in the past year or so. So that's going to be interesting. So what I'm looking at here, and by the way, we also have next week, we have non-farm payroll. Okay, the Canadian dollar will be affected there. So there's a lot to look at, a lot to understand. Let's just go back real quick to the chart, and let's just have a look here at the chart again. So really what I'm looking at and why I'm not panicked with regard to the opportunity, and I do see it as an opportunity, is that I'm looking at price is quite likely to, I mean, here it was, we were in a downtrend. So when it went up to the 200 MA on the hourly chart and broke down, was expecting a continuation, but it failed. It went up, it got to this level, another significant level. It gave a reaction, we expected a pullback and a continuation. That fell, so we got two losses there. But we're going into this area here where historically it's been a solid level. We got news coming, and what I know is price will go up because there's news. It will find the middle of the range. Okay, the news will come, it may go up, especially with non-farm payroll, do a stop run, we're running out of space here, and then shoot back down. Okay, I thought I'd map this out on the chart as we look at what's going on. I thought I'd map it out, then we can see what actually happens next week. I don't think, I'm afraid, I still got a couple of losing positions. I took some losses, but I got a couple of losing positions on here, which I'm going to hold on to, and I'm going to apply the textbook strategy when it presents itself. Typically, I'm expecting that to happen at this level here, a break, a pullback, and a massive crash to the downside. Seen this play out several times, guys. Not concerned, not worried. And also, just to mention that we've had a break of this major trend line here. Break, pullback, didn't quite retest it. So again, another reason for staying in the trade and looking for the short is that we can get a retest on the backside of this level and then a move to the downside. That's what we're expecting. This could be a phenomenal move down to here. We're looking at around about, oh, hold on, let's get the mouse here. We're looking at about for a 500 pip trade. So guys, I hope you've found something beneficial in this, how to manage a losing trade, especially when they're happening in an area where, hey, really shouldn't be happening. We've got to look at the bigger picture, get an understanding, and then we're looking for the next textbook trade setup. We have a bit more certainty here, so we're going to hold on to that, likely to occur in the beginning of September. Hope you enjoyed this trade, guys, and let's see how this bad boy plays out. Look forward to it. We'll put a post up when it does happen. Let's now go to Chadwick Boseman. He died from cancer, was battling cancer over years, still performing, and gave a phenomenal speech. Here's some excerpts of that speech. And do like, do subscribe, do comment in the box below any questions you have regarding the strategy, and we'll see you on the next setup.
On what seemed to be a random day, my head down, lost in my own world of issues, like many of you do daily. I'm almost at the center of the yard. I raised my head and Muhammad Ali was walking towards me. Time seemed to slow down as his eyes locked on mine and opened wide. He's raised his fist into a quintessential guard. I was game to play along with him, to act as if I was a worthy opponent. What an honor to be challenged by the GOAT, the greatest of all time, for a brief moment. His face was as serious as if I were Frazier in the Thriller in Manila. His movements were flashes of a past greater than I can imagine. His security let the joke play along for a second before they ushered him away. And I walked away floating like a butterfly. I walked away amused at him, amused at myself, amused at life for this moment that almost no one would ever believe. I walked away light, ready to take on the world. The dynamics of positive and negative seem to exist in extremes.
I told you I'm the real champion. I told you I'm the champion of the world. All of you bow.
Throughout ancient times, institutions of learning have been built on top of hills to convey that great struggle is required to achieve degrees of enlightenment. Each of you had your own unique difficulties with the hill. You know, sometimes your grades don't give a real indication of what your greatness might be. You would rather find purpose than a job or a career. Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. It is the reason you are on the planet at this particular time in history. Your very existence is wrapped up in the things you are here to fulfill. Whatever you choose for a career path, remember the struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. Or some of you went through something traumatic. You made it to the top of the hill, but not without scars and bruises. When completing a long climb, one first experiences dizziness, disorientation, and shortness of breath due to the high altitude. But once you become accustomed to the climb, your mind opens up to the tranquility of the triumph. Oftentimes, the mind is flooded with realizations that were for some reason harder to come to when you were at a lower elevation. At this moment, most of you need some realizations because right now you have some big decisions to make. I don't know what your future is, but if you are willing to take the harder way, the more complicated one, the one with more failures at first than successes, the one that has ultimately proven to have more meaning, more victory, more glory. As is often the case, those that follow most often enjoy the results of the progress you gain. Sometimes you need to get knocked down before you can really figure out what your fight is. Everything that you fought for was not for yourself. It was for those that come after. Finally, I thought of Ali in the middle of the yard. In his elder years, drawing from his victories and his losses. At that moment, I realized something new about the greatness of Ali and how he carried his crown. I realized that he was transferring something to me on that day. He was transferring the spirit of the fighter in me. He was transferring the spirit of the fighter to me. He was transferring the spirit of the fighter to me.